and you just see quiet, very clean. They're like, if someone walks in the door and there's any negativity, those people just get up and leave. Nothing personal. I just can't have that in my life.
All right, well, welcome to the show. That was Alex Harmozi. That's the guy he's my guest today, if you want to think of it that way. But I've been reviewing a lot of his videos, and I told myself this wasn't going to become an Alex Harmozi review channel, but he keeps just making these bomb videos that are just amazing. So I keep reviewing them because there's just amazing information, and I'm really putting it into our business. And I'm really putting it into my life, and that's what I've been talking about on here on the channel is the different habits and the things that I do, putting into my life that are improving my business. And so that's what he does. He makes a lot of videos that help people to do that. I've been using them, so I am reporting on that here to my channel. Hope you guys find some value in it. Let's get started and hear what old Hormozi has to say.
The more successful, the larger your company grows, the more you scale, the more you need to scale.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like right off the bat, he's dropping bombs that I growing these businesses and this specific business that we're growing right now. I keep talking about it. It requires me to grow myself. I have to grow my abilities to be able to run this business, to be able to offer this to the market. There's a certain amount of growth. There's a certain person that the market is buying. And I have to grow myself to become that person. So that's what I've been working on. That's what I've been doing. Preach it, Alex.
The skill you is because you do have a finite amount of attention. And so what happens is you have to decrease all of the other things in your life that drain attention.
He calls this the draining attention. And I've watched it a couple times, so I get excited hearing him talk about it. Draining attention to these other things in our lives.
Because you can have as much time as you want, but if you're not there, you're not potent, you're not...
Oh, that's the word. Potent. Where when you're doing something, you're actually making some progress. Something is actually happening from what you're doing. Potent. I like that.
Able, then you can't get anything done with that time that you're supposedly allocating, which is why a lot of people end up in this in-between state of always everywhere and at the same time nowhere. And the reason that it's difficult to focus is because entrepreneurs, the character trait that made us into entrepreneurs is that we're go-getters, we're risk averse, we're creators, we're innovators, we're builders, right? We have all of those traits, but the difficulty is that the thing that gets you from 0 to 1 is not the thing that gets you from 1 to 2.
And that's exactly what I've been dealing with. The hustle, the grind, the hard work, the 4 a.m., the just hammering on the body and just pushing through any type of hurdles, any type of objections, any doors, throwing them open. You know, that's been a tool. And I can't let it be a personality that takes over and stays permanent. It's a tool. It's a temporary tool.
Right? And so one of the reason that you have to totally morph and why you have to be a growth-oriented individual is because you have to change your own individual character traits in order to progress as a business owner. And so, like I said, the things that got you here are not the things that are going to get you there. The things that got you here, which is your own internal skills, are not the things that you need to pass on to other people. So the only way that you were able to grow your business at a certain point is by growing other people, right?
Yes. Yes. And the thing that he's about to talk about is that growing other people, I kept thinking, and a lot of people are talking about, okay, you're developing other people to kind of like clone yourself. And I don't think that's it. I mean, I think that's kind of like a crutch to use at the beginning. So when you're at the level to get to, so some of the levels that he's talking about, just to kind of throw out numbers to make it real. So the numbers that he's talking about is he's mentoring and he's making videos to entrepreneurs who are trying to get up to $3 million per year. Then at $3 million per year of revenue, he starts to look at them as possible equity partners, that he will take an equity position in their company. So that's his game that he's doing on the internet, which is brilliant. It's just fascinating because everyone that winds up getting to the top, he can choose his pick from the ones that are doing the exact systems that he taught them how to do to get from one to smart cat. Let's see what he has to say.
And the only way you can do that is if you have the attention and the bandwidth in order to do so. Is I look at how quiet and how clean they keep their space.
So he was talking about he has some billionaire friends and high-level entrepreneurs that he tends to run with in these circles and network with and such. And so he's noticing the similarities and talking about the specific exact things that he's noticing in these people. And he's talking about how clean and tidy and perfect and pristine and specific they keep all of the things in their lives. Their office, their house, yard, everything in their lives is very ordered, and it doesn't take attention, for example, to go find something. This is something, you hear the story all the time about Einstein only had one set of clothes that he wore the same clothes all the time, and like Steve Jobs and these top high performers have they only just wear the same clothes because they don't want to even spend the mental capacity, the mental attention that it takes to choose clothes, because what's the purpose? It's not even important. So they've gotten all of those things out of the equation, out of their mental tasks. They just completely remove them from the situation. And so that's what he's talking about whenever we're draining attention, because in order to really do the next level of things that I need to do, the tasks, the daily specific tasks that I need to accomplish, it becomes creative, and it takes a lot of energy and time and specific focus. And if I have a lot of drains, there are tasks that I just get completely blocked on, and it feels like I'm making excuses, but then I'll go, okay, that's an excuse. I'll just push through, right? And so I'll try to start doing the task anyway, and I'll be halfway through it. I'll look at the quality. I'm like, this is just terrible. I can't put out this kind of quality, because I'm writing copy for advertisements for our business, and I'm writing emails to partners, investors, future investors, possible partners, and I'll read them back, and I'm like, I wouldn't want to get this from someone. I would not be happy to receive this email at all. So I don't want to put my name on it and send it out, because I know that I'm draining attention. I'm just sending out my attention to other places, and I don't have that potency that he's talking about, that thickness, that heat. I think of it like heat, like when you're cooking. If you spread out the heat too much, you can't ever even get the pan hot enough. The pan won't even get hot enough to really cook it the way that you need. And so in order to do that, you got to focus the heat. The heat's got to come together. You've got to spread out. It's just not going to work. You have to focus in that heat. And it's, this is just like a metaphor or whatever, but it's so much like that. Being able to focus that creativity and call up that creativity on demand when needed takes that lack of drain of the attention. So a lot of times, in one of the other videos that he made talking about how routines can become a crutch, and how we can start to just lean on these routines, and then we start using that as an excuse. Oh, well, I'm not writing that good a copy today because I didn't have this special drink, or I can't really focus because I don't have my special glasses to be able to focus today. And so all these things just become crutches of why we don't want to be creative and put in that hard work. Well, one of the ways that we can stop needing those crutches is to remove all this attention drain. We're leaking attention, he talks about. I like that word, leaking attention. Go for it, Alex.
And I mean that both in a literal sense, that their surroundings, their office, their house, their homes, their cell phone, their computers.
He's talking about his wealthy friends again that are real high level and successful.
Right? It's quiet, right? Everything. It's pristine. And when you talk to these people, there's a certain amount of tranquility that's there, and they just have very low tolerance. And it's not that they're trying to be impatient with you or impatient with the world. It's just that they understand that they have they're operating at such a high level that there's so many things that are demanding of their time and attention that they just they can't.
They have to guard, and I'm getting to this point where I have to guard my attention and keep it from leaking out, because I look and I'm like, I know the sacrifice of attention here where it's important, I'm going to have to make to focus on that. So I have to say no.
And so they have to forcibly remove themselves from so many different situations. Like, you want $100,000 coaching? This is what happens in $100,000
Yes, please.
coaching sessions. And I'm being honest with you. What happens is someone who's coming in, usually doing between $1 and $3 million a year, can't get past a certain point, right? And the reason they can't get past is because they only have so much attention. They have it spread between 4 or 5 different cakes.
So this is one of the things we've been talking about, is how we grow our business to the level of who we are and what we are able to accomplish. Because if we were at a higher level, then we would be able to attract the people that we need to fill those gaps that are the lacks in ourselves. I'll say that again. What happens is whenever we have ourselves into the right framework and we have ourselves into the correct positioning, we will draw to ourselves the people who we need to fill the lack that we have. We have a lack, and there's a reason we're not able to give a better service to the market, and a better service that's just gonna draw in tons and tons of money or capital or whatever it is, or attention sometimes. So in order to draw the people into our lives that will fill that lack, we have to have our attention able to be focused and get that potency.
That's when the gym owner has 4 gyms and is making less money than they did when they had 1 gym.
That's whenever we dilute our potency. And we got too much going on. I've been talking about this on the channel as well. We're letting go of some of our properties, and that's turned out to be a lot more challenging than I thought. You know, I mean, whenever we start talking about giving away large amounts of, future revenue and all that, and so we're still working on it. We're not giving up on it and just going to hold on to things that are going to slow us down. But it's just not as easy to just let it go as I thought it would be.
Because the amount of attention that they can allocate to one facility has gone down so much that with fixed costs, they basically are breaking even. And so in order to grow, you need to do less. In order to grow, you need to do less. And that comes from both delegation and also choosing what not to do. The better you get, the better the opportunities that you have to say no to. A lot. You know how many people cold message me like, I have an opportunity for you? I'm like, really? You have an opportunity for me?
I get that quite a bit. That cracks me up. I get some folks that'll be, yeah.
And so the better you get, the better your opportunities you have to say no to, which is why becoming a higher and higher and higher level entrepreneur is more and more difficult, because it requires discipline.
And it's that discipline. He's talking about the discipline to say no. Exactly what I was complaining about right before that clip. I'm trying to grow in the strength of the discipline to say no to really good offers. Exactly what I was talking with Brett Moore about yesterday. Whenever you feel and whenever you know that you're doing things that are fantastic for the world, you realize that fantastic people deserve fantastic opportunities, because they are creating fantastic opportunities for the world as well. And that's a way that people at the top, and I'm really starting to understand this, there's this a fantasy of guilt at the bottom. It's I remember fantasizing that I would be guilty when I had more, and I don't, because whenever you have more, it's because you've provided more.
It's not about doing more, it's about doing less, because we innately want to do more. So doing more of your own internal characteristic, if that was what it took to be more successful, then everyone would be more successful, because it would be something that does not take effort, because that is something that we already do. It's like, man, I outwork anyone. I've got all this work ethic. Cool. That gets you from 0 to 1.
So that's exactly what I've been talking about. You've even seen it probably on the channel. Hopefully it'll start sounding and looking different over time, because I know that that's not the skill like he's talking about. I know that's the skill that got me here. And I also know that it's not the skill that's getting me to the next level. There's parts of it, it's a tool. And I look at it as, that's why I constantly keep referring to it as a tool, because I can pull it out and use it. But the important part is being able to put it away and not just use it for everything, because just working hard is that hammer. They say if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Well, just working your butt off is that hammer, and it'll work for everything, but it'll break everything too. So that's the way.
It's not going to get you any further than that. So stop identifying with that. It was something that I used to identify with. I was like, I'll outwork anyone, whatever. That was something that I used to think about. And it was a character trait. It was an identity thing. And the more you grow, the more you realize that your identity needs to be fluid, because what it needs to be is exactly what it needs to be at that given time of development. The skills that you need to learn, like delegation, leadership, those are things that are not the things that take you in the beginning.
Well, think about it if you're just starting out and you're that brand new entrepreneur and all you're worried about is delegation and leadership and teamwork and vision casting and that's all important things to be learning and developing. But I mean, if you're not doing the actions of your business,
You have to be independent. You have to be hustling. You have to be grinding. You have to be willing to put in the work because no one else will do it for you, especially if you have no capital to start, which most of the people who are on here are in that situation. To reel this back in, the number one thing that you have to be paying attention to is where you are paying your attention.
oh yeah, now he's really getting into it. I love this. And he talks about it. I think of it like it's currency. You're paying with it. It has value like it's currency.
Right? Like you spend attention. That's why they call it paying attention. It's because it is a resource. And most people don't pay attention to that. I, for 9 months, paid a coach to teach me one thing, which was to manage my attention.
So he's talking about this coach. And just to kind of go on my own little tangent, I've been watching entrepreneurs talk about coaches for like 5 and 6 years. I have a coach for this and I have a coach for that. And I've kind of been, I don't know, maybe negative, maybe I haven't really thought it was that great. I was like, why do you need all these coaches? You can go get plenty of stuff on the internet for free. And that's exactly what I've been saying is you can get to certain levels for free. And so now it's getting to where exactly what he's talking about. I'm leaking attention and searching for information. So I'm leaking attention by paying attention to way too much information, searching through to get the nuggets that I need. Because now, as we're getting to kind of like, more like it's smaller tasks. There's smaller amount of people that are actually doing what needs to be done to get the next levels done. So there's smaller amounts of people that you can even look around and ask and find out this information from. Thank God for the wonderful, internet that brings us all this information. But the really, really top stuff, like I said, you could probably even find it for free on the internet. You just have to search through so much to get those tiny nuggets and know which ones to put together. So having people you can talk to, mentors, peers, really important.
Was to teach me how to think. And so for 90 minutes every single day, all I did was talk about what I was thinking about. And when I did that, all of a sudden, my business blew up, right? And I realized that I had toxic relationships.
It's funny. He said 90 minutes per day is what he was spending talking about what he was thinking about. And that's about the same amount of time that relationship experts, if I remember right, I watched this video about it, talking about 90 minutes per day is about the amount of time that couples need to update each other. They need to update each other on what's going on in the relationship and life and my cousin and your sister and all this stuff that happens in life. We update each other and it takes about 90 minutes per day. So he's updating himself on what he's paying attention to. So he's basically having a relationship with the what he pays attention to. Pretty interesting.
I had toxic relationships with parents. I had toxic relationships with friends or pseudo friends. Things that were taking my attention past things that I had on my mind that I knew I had not handled. So those are called like open loops or open cycles, right? So when you have something that you're like, I haven't resolved this, then you need to handle that and you'll get that attention back, because what happens is you have this bowl, this tiny little bowl of marbles, and each of those marbles is a unit of attention, right? If you had to measure it. And so you put little marbles of attention on your childhood traumas. You put little marbles of attention on your marriage. You put little marbles of attention on your health.
Hang on, bro. Is that shorts? That's okay. You're a gym dude, so that's cool.
Little marbles of attention on your spirituality, and then massive marbles of attention on your business. But the thing is that sometimes you need to quiet and collect all of these other little marbles so that you have more potency, more potential energy, more potential units of attention to spend on the one thing that you're trying to grow.
That heat. You're trying to focus in and get that potency, that heat in that one specific place, because the focus is what gets it done.
In this case would be your business. How much horsepower do you have? And so look at the things that you have in your life right now. Like if I see someone who has a messy relationship life, who's got a messy love life, who goes out every weekend and gets trashed, right? Like I can tell you billionaires don't do that. That like the whole Tony Stark like vision of the entrepreneur is a farce. It's not true. Don't believe that. Every single billionaire, every single high-level entrepreneur is quiet.
And so this is one of the things that I've been, and I didn't develop it this way on purpose, but I could feel as we were moving more into finance and high-level finance and the things that we've been doing, I've been cultivating more of this quiet. You know, I talk about a lot the things that I have in my office that influence me. This is where I spend my time, and this is the things that influence me. I don't have a lot of like loud tech stuff. I have military coins, and I have books, maps. I have very stable, calm things that influence me all day. And it's been very powerful. It's been very helpful. Exactly what he's talking about, how high-level entrepreneurs and billionaires that he's friends with tend to have these quiet environments. And I started listening to, my wife makes fun of me about it all the time. I listen to, it's like elevator music. It's lo-fi music. And it's, so I just put on YouTube and play the slow music. It'll be like slow jazz. And it's like you said, it's a very quiet, because it takes a lot of distractions down. And the kind of the stable, small sparseness of my office kind of takes down the distractions and the attention leaks. I really like that idea of attention just leaking out, and we're just letting it leak, and stopping those leaks by having everything be stable and not taking the attention.
Unbelievably quiet. They keep themselves completely isolated. They have a bubble around them of layers of protection. They're like because these little things that are perceived as huge issues to you in that moment, because you have a little bit of attention, you have so little left that everything seems like an explosion.
So he's talking about whenever you've been leaking attention, whenever we're just paying attention to every little tiny details, all this stuff we can't control, all this stuff that we haven't resolved, all these problems we haven't fixed that we probably should have. And we're attention depleted. We've already given out all of our attention. So whenever it comes to something that needs our attention, we don't have it. And we try to if you try to like gather up your attention, they're holding on to it. They're not giving it back. You know, the people you pissed off that you didn't do good work for, but you charged them anyway, and then you just changed your phone number or whatever. They're holding on to your attention because they're going to keep it. They're going to keep that guilt. That's attention. We can just do the right thing and not wind up in that situation in the first place. That's a great way to do it.
But when you have lots of capacity, big problems seem small, and small problems seem big.
I love that, because when you have a lot of capacity, whenever you have all of your attention gathered, he has this thing about you have this little tiny bowl, and each one is a marble, right? And you're putting out your attention. So whenever you have your bowl full of your marbles, and it's all of the attention, you can put it onto a big problem, and it's super simple. Big problems, whenever I have all of my attention and I can just focus them on one problem, it's taken care of. I just take care of it immediately. But whenever I'm on my phone checking emails and I'm at the beach, and I'm not supposed to be checking emails, I'm at the beach, I'm supposed to be at the beach, right? But whenever I can't focus on it, this problem, I'm only putting I can actually make it bigger. You know, I'm trying to read the emails. I can't read it right because I'm at the beach and it's in the sun and I'm trying to read it. And so by not focusing my attention, I can actually make myself, make bigger problems.
And it sounds reverse, because what you do is you start seeing that all of these things are attention drains, and you just say, I don't want to play anymore. And you stop playing. And then all of a sudden, everything gets really simple, because the only things you have to do become really simple. Where's your attention? And if someone comes in and they seem really, really like scattered, I already know that their attention's all over the place. They're super spread thin. They're less able. So of course they can't grow their business, because they don't have the very horsepower, the main resource that allows them to grow and push, right? And so look at your life, look at your relationship with your spouse, loved one, look at your habits, how you wake up, how you eat, how you exercise, do you drink? Is that I would drink in the evenings because it would help me just de-stress, it would help me unwind. But what that does is it masks the thing that is taking my attention that I have anxiety on. right? And so if you need to take a drink to unwind, then it means you have things that you have not resolved. And the things that are taking your attention, you need to handle, complete the cycles, and get the attention back so you can work on the one thing that you're trying to grow. And if you have side hustles and side businesses, get rid of them. Kill them. That's what people like. People come and they pay us tons of money to tell them, do one thing.
This is the craziest thing. He goes, you want $100,000 worth of consulting right now? And that's really what people pay them for him to say this exact thing right here. They're these gym owners that are, getting big, and there's like getting a couple of gyms now, and they're making a lot of money. So they have some big money to throw down for some consulting. They'll pay him $100,000 for him to tell them, just do one thing.
And the only reason that they listen is because we make more. And I'm telling you right now, that's what I would tell you. Do one thing. Focus. Do one thing. Focus. I'm saying it again. You can have $100 million roofing business, right? That just repairs roofs. You don't need to do general contracting and also windows and also gutters and roofs. You can just do one thing and be really, 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 really good at it and make as much money as you want. And so just break that belief of yourself of like, I have to have 3 things in order to make more money. No, you don't. You don't. It's not true. You need one thing. It's just these beliefs that we have that are silly. And I can tell you that the higher up you go, all of those limiting beliefs disappear. And you just see people who operate at a very high level, very quiet, very clean. They're like, if someone walks in the door and has any negativity, those people just get up and leave. Nothing personal. I just can't have that in my life, right? If someone complains, someone's negative, this weather, traffic, like, don't worry. I'm just going to get up and go. It's nothing personal, right? That's how they handle themselves.
That was Alex Harmozi. Thanks, Alex, for the speech. Like I said, that's a lot of the information that I've been putting into our business, and man, I can't say enough good things about the information that I've been taking off of free videos from the internet. Oh, I got his book too. He's got a book. What about his book? 100 million. Let's see if I can put it on the screen. Cover my face. $100 million offers. There you go. Looks pretty good. And yeah, so I guess I'm accidentally slipping into an Alex Harmozi review channel on accident. He just keeps making these awesome videos. So if you never came to our channel before or seen me do a video, my name is Alex Alexander, and we don't have any sort of mentoring or anything like that, sales kits to teach anybody how to do anything. I just make videos because I was able to watch a whole bunch of free videos on YouTube. Who would have guessed? And I took a bunch of information, I put it together in my life, I put it together, started some businesses, put all that information into my businesses, and we've done very well. It turned out pretty well. I own Integrity Portfolio Management here in Kailua Kona, Hawaii, and our company's bringing in somewhere around $30,000 per month. And like I said, we don't have anything to sell you on this channel. We sell land if you want to go buy some land. So from downtown Kailua Kona, this has been Alex Alexander, your host for the High Performers Podcast. Aloha.